Hi! You made it to Storytime with Andy. That's awesome. Glad to see you here today. We are reading the Barnabus Project. This is a new book. You can see Barnabus right there. And if you're wondering, is Barnabus an elephant or a mouse? You wouldn't be alone. So Barnabus is what we're calling a misfit. He was a toy that was designed, but the designers kind of thought he was imperfect. And so they kind of rejected him. And he and a bunch of his other misfit toys decide that they are going to break out and get some freedom. So it's just a really sweet story about how imperfections make you who you are. Nobody out there is perfect, right? Imperfections make you who you are. We see that Barnabas, even though he's imperfect, look how cute he is. Who wouldn't want Barnabas? He's adorable. And then we see at the end, like, he and his other friends all stick together. It's just such a sweet story. So I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna draw today. We always do. So grab a crayon and a piece of paper, and we are gonna draw Barnabas at the end of the book, okay? But before we do, I wanna say a special hello to Luke and Parker and Noah W. in North Carolina. I just thought about you guys. I think you'll think that this book is really fun. So I hope you like it. And here we go. We're off to read The Barnabus Project. The Barnabus Project by the Fan Brothers. Barnabas lived in a secret lab. He was half mouse and half elephant, and he had lived in the lab as long as he could remember. The lab was hidden beneath perfect pets on a perfectly ordinary street. It was deep underground where no one would ever find it. The lab was where they made perfect pets. Except Barnabas wasn't quite perfect. He had been put in a part of the lab called failed projects. His home was rather small, but that just meant it was easier to keep tidy. The green rubber suits always fed Barnabas his favorite food, which was cheese and peanuts. And yet, he sometimes wondered about the world outside of his little bell jar. It was Pip the cockroach who told them stories about the world above. Stories about a sparkling silver lake, green trees, and mountains that reached all the way to the sky, lit up with their own stars. "Maybe someday I'll sit on the grass and look at the stars," said Barnabas. And when he closed his eyes, he almost could. "Impossible," said Pip. "Nothing's impossible," said Barnabas. But secretly he worried his friend might be right. And at that moment, the green rubber suits came in. They turned on the lights and checked each bell jar one by one. They made strange noises to each other. They peered and they poked. They peeked and they prodded. And they put red stamps on all the jars. Then they left. "What does it mean?" said Barnabas, looking up at the strange red stamp. "It means you're going to be recycled," said Pip. "That's what happens to all failed projects." "You'll be fluffier afterwards," offered Pip kindly. "And you'll be cuter, and your eyes will probably be bigger." "I like having small eyes," said Barnabas, although he wasn't even sure anymore. Barnabas slumped in his jar. He wasn't fluffy enough, and his eyes were beady, but he liked himself just the way he was. And what if, after he was recycled, peanuts and cheese were no longer his favorite foods? What if his friends didn't recognize him after? What if he no longer cared about green trees and mountains lit with their own stars? "We need to escape," said Barnabas suddenly. The other failed projects gasped, but then they cheered. "Impossible," said Pip. "Nothing is impossible," said Barnabas. He took a step back, and he kicked as hard as he could. He charged at the glass. But the bell jar was much stronger than he was. Finally, Barnabas made a sad sound with his trunk, and a tiny crack appeared. He was free! Then he freed the others. The dust bunnies, Light Up Lois, Bumble Bear, the Ametix, Mushroom Sloth, Wally the Ripple, Stick 1 and Stick 2, Quirt, Moshi, Pompidou, Fertile, Blinky, the Bottle Mogs, Lowell, Percival, Spike, Pinto, Chloe, Peep, Leaf, all of them. You have to understand, they had never been outside their jars before. There was quite a commotion. They whooped and sang, they chirped and hooted, they stretched their legs and jumped for joy. And when they calmed down a bit, they peeked over the edge. The floor was far below. "Now what?" said Quirt. "We have to work together," said Barnabas. And one by one, they helped each other down until they finally reached the floor. "Shh," said Barnabas, and they all fell silent. They heard it too, footsteps in the corridor outside. "Quick," said Barnabas, "we can go through here." He didn't like dark places, but the footsteps were getting closer. Everyone crawled into the vent with Light Up Lois leading the way. It was a tight squeeze for some of them. The vent led into the most secret part of the secret lab, and they all looked up. "We need to run!" cried Pip. But Barnabas couldn't run. The great, sad eye seemed to be looking directly at him. "We can't leave it behind," said Barnabas. "It's scary," said Pip. "It's monstrous," said Quirtle. "It's appalling," said the Ametix. "It's a failed project," said Barnabas, "just like us." So they worked together to turn the great valve that opened the tank. But it was too late. The green rubber suits had found them. Just when all seemed lost, the tank doors swung open and water flooded into the lab. But the water carried them up to the world above. And when they finally opened their eyes, they were in a puddle, surrounded by shelves of perfect pets. Everyone ran toward the exit, but Barnabas stopped. It was almost like looking in a mirror, except Barnaby's eyes were bigger and his fur was like cotton candy. He was perfect. "Barnabas!" Pip called from the front of the store. "Look, it's the outside world!" Barnabas ran to join his friends. He might not be perfect, but he was free. The world was much bigger than Barnabas and his friends ever could have imagined. And just like Pip said, there were mountains that reached to the sky, lit with their own stars. "You were right," said Pip. "Nothing is impossible." Soon they found a place full of sunshine and happy noises, green trees and soft grass. A place that might be home. And it wasn't always easy, but they always stuck together. The end. Oh, Barnabas, you cute, sweet little elephant mouse misfit. I love ya. All right, this is what we're gonna draw today. We're gonna draw the cover with a little Barnabas right here in that jar that they kept him in for so long before he and his friends broke out, right? All right, I'll leave that right there. About right there so you can see it, okay? All right, we are going to draw Barnabas, so we're gonna mostly draw down in the bottom half of your page, okay? And we're gonna start with this little trunk. Start down in the bottom half of your page, make a J kind of, and another J, and then his trunk kind of does a little fork right there. There's his trunk, okay? We're gonna draw two tiny eyes. Just like that. There's his eyes. All right, the rest of it is a lot of round shapes next, okay? So we're gonna come over here and do a circle. That's one of his hands. And we're gonna come over here and do a circle. That's another of his hands, okay? Bring this down. This is where his leg is gonna be. Up, over, down to another leg, over, and back up to this hand, okay? Seeing his body come together. All right, let's do this face. He's got these big ears. So we're gonna come above his eyes and do a short line like that, and then big letter C out like that, okay? Same on the other side. Over here, real big. Good job. Okay. Now we're gonna come in here and make the insides of his ears. See, it's like pink fluffy in there. Kind of like a mouse would be, because remember, he's part elephant, part mouse. All cute. So now we can draw the rest of his face coming down like this. We can't even see his mouth. Who knows what his mouth looks like under there. And we need to draw his little mouse tail. So come over here above his leg and just kind of have it come up like that. And it just gets skinnier toward the end, okay? There is Barnabas. So cute, right? Love him. He is not a misfit in my book. Now we're gonna draw this jar, or this cloche, that is keeping him contained, okay? So we're gonna come to right above his foot, draw kind of an oval in front of his feet, over here, then behind his feet, okay? He's standing on that. And then we're gonna come out here, dip it down a little bit. Oops, running out of room. Just like that. Okay, now we're gonna go up from here. All the way up, straight up, almost to the top of your page, and then start curving it in, okay? Then we're gonna do the same on the other side. All the way up, start curving it in. Let me move my paper. And then we're going to bring it up, and we're gonna make a circle up here. This is like the handle, okay? All right, there's his jar, and he has this little label right here, and that's gonna be where we draw the title of our book, okay? So it's like a big rounded oval. And we're gonna write the Barnabas Project. The Barnabas Project. Project. The Barnabas Project. Now you can color it in. Good job, everybody. All right, so that was a great book, right? I really loved seeing all those kind of mismatched or misfit toys. Really fun to look at. I really liked them better than kind of the perfect ones. And I love seeing them sneak out and kind of bust out of the lab and get into the real world where they can kind of be a little family together and enjoy their freedom. So I hope you guys like that book. I'd love to see your Barnabas drawings. You guys are such amazing artists out there. I love seeing them. Just have your parent upload it to our Facebook or Instagram page. I'd love to see your art, okay? All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I love spending time reading with you guys. As always, stay well and keep reading, okay? Bye.